Hi guys, I'm Linda.
I'm Vicky.
And we are partners in crime in the True Crime Tavern. It's a mouthful for sure, but we got to get people familiar with this True Crime Tavern. So. Today we wanted to go over a phone call. We're going to talk about Melanie Gibb, wonderful Melanie Gibb, who acted so innocent when she was talking to Nate Eidam. And, you know, so she had a phone call between this Sherry Dowdle. It was posted online by True Crime Underground. And Sherry did tape the phone call. I don't believe Melanie realized that she was being taped, but it actually shows a lot about the real Melanie Gibb and not what she presented to everyone. So I was thinking that what we're going to do is we're going to play a little snippet, and then Vicky and I will tell you our thoughts about what Melanie Gibb is saying.
Okay.
One thing I want you to realize before we do this, and this isn't something that I realized until I started watching the Nate Eidam interview again. When she was talking about JJ and Tylee, this was on May 30th, I believe, that she did the Nate Eidam interview. The kids had not been found yet.
Right.
So Nate was asking her, why are you doing this? And she said she's telling her story for everyone that passed. And she says Charles and JJ and Tylee and
Joseph Ryan?
no, oh my goodness gracious, Chad's wife, Tammy.
Oh, Tammy. I keep forgetting.
So she says this before the kids have even been found.
She did say that?
She said that.
For people that
For the people that have passed.
Didn't he question her more on that?
He did not. So this was even before the kids were found, so that's very telling. I think Melanie is probably being looked at. Can't believe that people wouldn't be questioning her unless she actually gave information that kept her from being implicated.
Well, that would be like Zulema, who
had a plea deal.
Yeah, you know,
how we didn't find this out yet, I don't know, but so that's something.
Right.
So what we're going to do is, like I said, I'm going to play some of it, and then we'll discuss what happened, or what our thoughts were.
Anyway, it takes months and months and months for them to figure out how to come up with a plan, basically. And I guess it comes down to it is she's frustrated him to every level. She's left. She says she puts it in her mind like, oh, look how he's behaving. He's so different now. He's this and that and this and that. Well, Charles is upset because she just tried to destroy his life. She told him, he was out of town when she found out, and he was in another state, and when she flew back home, she took his truck and hid it, took all the keys and took them from him, emptied all his clothes in the house. I mean, tried to destroy his work, his life, everything. Goodness. And I was like, hey, do you think that's a bit extreme? Like, are you sure you're supposed to do that? She goes, Melanie, the spirits tell me exactly what I'm supposed to do. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, thanks, you know. And so, anyway, she tells him, which is stupid. She says, I'm going to destroy you. She said, you are not Charles anymore. You are Ned, I forgot his last name, Snyder. You're Ned Snyder, and you're not gonna, I am, she told him, I think she told him prior to this, but she was translated, she was married to Moroni before, and so yeah, she started telling him this stuff, which is not smart. And
okay, so,
well, my thought is, here's Melanie relaxed, talking to her friend,
who wasn't really a good friend. They never really met. They talked on Facebook, I believe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's not like she's her buddy that she knows, that she's known for years. This is someone that she's not really that familiar with.
Well, I have to say that for the Nate Eidam interview,
Mm-hmm.
she was coached. She had to be coached by an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
She was probably even coached by the TV producers.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
About her personality, how she should present herself. So that was not the natural, I guess I want to say,
Right.
Melanie.
Yep.
So we can say that she seems so sweet because she's acting that part
Yeah.
for them.
Yep. What's so telling on this is she's like, yeah, she's stupid for telling him that stuff. Like when Lori's telling Charles she's going to get rid of him, she's like, she's stupid for doing that. Like, you know, we got killed. And you're like, oh, yeah, she's stupid for telling him that. Like, if I was going to kill someone, I definitely wouldn't have told him that.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Yeah. I mean,
it's a person
yeah.
that
It's a
got
person.
killed. And she's just like, oh, she's stupid for doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. She comes off very uncaring, very unsympathetic to the deaths of everybody.
That was Charles, yeah.
When you
We'll
listen
hear,
further,
yeah.
to everyone, and you know, again, for this conversation, it's just her. She wasn't coached, I'm sure.
Yep.
She's just
Yep.
having
She didn't even know she was being
yeah.
taped.
So this is probably the true
The real
side
Melanie.
of Melanie. But before we go on, I just want to say, I don't think she implicated herself in the crimes at all, other than maybe not speaking up when she should have.
Well, that's the problem. If you know something happened, you're supposed to tell someone that it happened.
Right.
Especially murder. You don't just say, well, I wasn't sure. You go and give them the police information. So that's I think, where she screwed up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's go.
Yeah, not smart. She should have kept that information to herself. So he gets me to come over to his house. But he breaks into the house and she's picking up the kids. He's still skinny. It's a lot of drama in that. But anyway, he says to me, and I thought it was Lori, but he had her cell phone, so he was trying to get me to come over so I talked to him. So it freaked me out. And I just there, and it's him, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I talked to him, and he's like, you know, Melanie, Lori's crazy. Like, she thinks that I'm this guy named Ned, and that she's trying to destroy my life. And I'm like, I just don't know what to say.
Oh my goodness.
It's like freaking out. Yeah, because I think my friends are good. She's seen Jesus. You know, I'm really believing that she really saw these things, you know?
Right.
And I'm just gullible as gullible gets. And she stuck on me like Velcro. She was such a good friend to me, you know what I mean? Like, she was close to me.
Right.
And so I just stood there and didn't know what to say to him. And then he hugged me and he was crying. And I was like, I look back now and go, oh my gosh. Anyway,
So what do you think about that?
I'm not sure what to think about that.
Obviously, there isn't any compassion because she's Velcroed to her friend and her husband doing this to her. She's not even thinking, oh my God, maybe I feel bad for this guy. She's all on Lori's side. This is my take on it, that she's just trying to get away from there, has to listen. She didn't realize he was bringing her there she thought it was Lori. And she's just like, she knows exactly what's going on.
I don't
She
know.
can't say anything. She could have said something to him.
She could have.
Yeah.
She could have. But I don't know what she was thinking at that time.
Well, she's saying she's Velcroed to Lori, so that means she knows everything.
Lori was Velcroed to her.
True, but they know everything about everything.
Yeah, they talked about it.
If you're together all the time, you should know what's going on.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think she knew more than
What
she was
let
saying.
on. Yeah.
oh, basically she sets it up where he sets it up. He's going to come into town, you know, when he passes away. And they have a shoot down, you know, and he dies. And out of self-defense, but the police officer told me that it was not you know, the guy that Alex that shot him, he didn't even really get hit that hard in the head. So, and Alex, bless his heart, who passed away, he just thought he was doing a favor to his sister. He didn't really care so much, about Charles or this or that, but he just thought he was helping her.
Did she ask him to kill him?
Well, to self-defense, yes. Well, because they planned it. I mean, so she knew that Charles was coming to town, and then she invited Alex over that night to spend the night to protect her. She said they're going to kill her. She told me they're going to come and try to kill her.
Oh my goodness.
I said, well, why are they we're going to try to kill you? And she says, well, because I have a $3 million policy on my head, and my brother and my husband and my nephew are all zombies now, and they all want me dead.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah,
So the brother, the husband, and the nephew are Eidam is her brother, her nephew, I forget what his name is, Zach, and then Charles. Mm-hmm. But then she said, oh, and there was a shootout, not that Charles got shot in the, he got shot a couple of times.
Awful. And she had, again, no compassion.
And she said it was planned. So she knew it was planned.
Yeah, she did say it was planned.
And she knew it. If she was told it was planned, and then she's backtracking. Oh, well, because she said that she was going to get killed and blah, blah, blah. No.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if she, I'm being devil's advocate here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she was really afraid to be involved with disclosing what she knew to the police because of what she knew they would do. I don't know, maybe that was part of it. Maybe for her, she didn't really believe that they would do that,
She'll answer kind of that further on in the call. So let's go.
It's crazy. So anyway, they have the shootout and everything, and she grabs his phone and they fight over that, and then Tylee, her daughter, picks up the bat and tries to defend herself or hit him or whatever. She doesn't like him anyway, and she doesn't like anybody. And so, anyway, they shoot him, and so the police officer, he goes, she was really happy for somebody that just had her husband shot dead. She was like, oh, how are you? Da-da-da. She's real positive and upbeat. And I was like, oh, that's not normal behavior to somebody that gets blown away in your front row.
Yeah, exactly.
And
sorry, Melanie, it's not normal behavior to be your friend and just casually talk about this either.
Right.
And she did say the police said that it wasn't self-defense. They didn't think that. So were they trying to build a case, and that's why it took this long to press charges?
I think so. I think they were really trying to build the case, and because I was reading that they were onto her. They were really following up on things that she was doing, and it just took them that long because just like
it takes a long time we see. Yeah.
With bringing charges against them, it took long to do that. So.
Yeah. Yep. But yes, again, Melanie casually talking about this like it's just a Sunday afternoon and she's watching a really cool horror movie or whatever kind of movie it is.
I what really struck me by that conversation when she said Tylee didn't like anybody, like she's just
like what she didn't like him. Well, she didn't like anybody. Like she did not speak.
She didn't have any. Again, she lacks that compassion. That, she doesn't have empathy.
Mm-hmm.
And people that don't have empathy sometimes can be very narcissistic, and they are very narcissistic.
Yeah, and this was actually taped in January of 2020, so the kids had not been found yet either. So at this point, she does not know that the kids...
Except that she strongly believed that they were dead.
Yeah.
So
that's her excuse. I just believe they're in another place. They're not of this world or something, she said to Dee.
That's the belief of those. That's the belief that cult had. That, their souls are happy now because they're not zombies anymore.
I mean, that would traumatize me. But anyway, so she's told to move up to Rexburg. The Lord tells her, move up to Rexburg now. She takes Tylee and JJ with her. Tylee and JJ are up there. I know she's up there with both of them because I can hear them on the phone in the background while she's packing and moving in. And then she tells me, I don't know, within a week or two that Tylee is now at BYU. She's up there at school.
Oh.
So I go up to visit her, and I see that Tylee is not there, and I said, hey, Tylee's, I mentioned again, like, Tylee went to BYU, and she goes, yeah, but she gave me this really creepy look.
Oh.
Yeah, it was creepy. It was like, yes, she's dead, really, and that kind of look.
Yeah.
Like, almost that kind of look. But then I didn't know what to think about it at the time. I was like, why do I feel creepy when she looks at me like that,
Yeah.
And so anyway, then she tells me I get there on September 23rd weekend, and JJ's missing. No, JJ's not missing, sorry. JJ's there, and she tells me he's a zombie now.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so she says that Tylee was not there, and Lori said she was at BYU,
Right.
but that she gave her a look, like a real creepy look, and again, Melanie thought she knew that Tylee was dead at that point with that look. You don't go to someone saying, this doesn't sound right. Again, this is a perfect opportunity for her to go out and attempt to tell someone something weird is going on. And then she talks about JJ, and she's like, well, JJ wasn't there. No, JJ was there. So he was there or he wasn't. Yes, people do slip up when they say that, but sometimes you're really telling the truth and you kind of backtrack. So she said JJ wasn't there. So is that the truth? No, then JJ was there. Is it the truth? And then she has to make up a story about him climbing on things and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? To try to keep people from asking her about it.
Those are things we're never going to know. And we never have proof of anything like that. We're speculating and we're reading things into it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what really happened. We don't know if she really knew those kids were dead.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, I think that she would have been questioned. I mean, even before this phone call.
Mm-hmm.
I think the police would have been, we don't know what they asked her. We don't know what she told them.
Right. But she was in hiding. She didn't remember in Nate Eaton's interview, he's like, you're a hard person to find. We couldn't find you. So maybe she laid low and didn't talk to anyone until she came out to talk to him. And then I'm sure the floodgates opened and she had to talk to everyone.
Well, I'm sure that, again, she had an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And her attorney probably said to her, keep your mouth shut. Lay low.
Mm-hmm.
Until whatever.
Right.
So.
Which we don't know if she does, but it would be smart to have one.
Yeah. Especially if she's being questioned by the police.
Yeah.
And they know that she's connected to Lori.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there's a search for these children. You'd be pretty stupid not to.
And the police talked to her too, and she's like, "Yeah, no, he's not with me."
Yeah.
She tells me he's a zombie now.
Oh my goodness.
And so was Tylee.
Oh no.
So people that are zombies, they don't end up staying alive. She probably seen the pattern in it. And so anyway, so I say, okay. She says, I'm just going to give it back to Kay, the grandmother. And I said, well, that sounds like a good idea.
Why didn't she do that?
Commissions. Just tell her to take Kay. Do you think she'll take JJ? I mean, it's a lot of work. Do you think she'll take, no, yeah, I'm hoping so. I'll just have to make something up. I said, well, tell her you're sick or something, and that you just have some illness and that you're not able to watch after it. So, she said, hey, he's a handful.
So, we do know that Lori did tell Kay, or who did she tell that she had cancer?
She told Kay.
Okay, yeah, she told Kay that she had cancer and couldn't. Did that come from Melanie?
Who knows?
She's like, just tell her you're sick and you can't take care of them.
She may have given her that idea. But what I don't understand is why didn't she give him to Kay?
Well, yes.
I don't understand the motive there.
The motive is Kay got the $1 million, and God forbid if she's going to give them to her, because Kay wants them.
She may out of spite.
Yes. Yeah.
That could be too.
Yeah. So could be, like you said, Melanie pulling these strings. Like, oh, just tell her this. So she
got the idea
she
from
did
her.
tell her that when this all happened. I don't know if it was after this conversation, but it's very interesting.
So, plus it's not her kid anyway, right? And so...
It's not her kid because she adopted him, right?
Right, she adopted him from Kay's family.
Oh, she did?
Yeah. Oh. As a baby. She had him as a baby. Yeah, he was a drug baby, and so they adopted him as a baby, yeah.
Well, she's not his kid anyway. He is her kid. He's been her kid since he was a little baby. Yeah. Like, again, this is the real Melanie.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's
her personality.
And he's a drug baby. No, you don't say that. If you have any compassion, it doesn't matter at all that this child came into this world in this way that he did not do himself.
Right.
And you're going to sit there and tell someone, oh, well, he's a drug baby, and it's not her kid anyway. Like, that is just horrible.
Right.
To me, she's a horrible person. And
yeah, I mean, she's tough. She just doesn't have the feelings that any normal person
and
would
apparently
have.
She has a learning disability child. I heard
she has an autistic child too.
Well, then you would be extra sensitive to that sort of thing.
I don't know. Does she? I think she left her kids with their father. I mean, that's what I had heard.
Okay, well then
she doesn't have them anymore.
Then
so
she doesn't really care.
She doesn't have the capability.
But then let's hear her turn this around and make Lori to be a excellent mother.
And she was a really good mom to him. She was really patient with him and very loving. I saw her. She's very loving to him.
Wow.
And she was.
Even though it wasn't her kid.
Very mom, patient, very patient with that kid. And so anyway. So she told me, she's like, yeah, JJ is at Grandma's house. Yeah, she went. So after I left, and I saw JJ right before I left, and she said within a week or so, that he had gone to Kay's house, and that, that's where he was. So then Tammy dies, and then she's in Hawaii when it happens, and I call her in Hawaii, and I say, hey, guess what? Tammy just died. Do you know this? And she goes, no, I haven't heard it yet. And I said, well, what happened? What happened to Tammy? And she goes, well, she was a zombie 2 weeks before she died. And I was like, really? She goes, yeah, she was starting to question our relationship. She was wondering if he was having an affair. I said, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure that's what did Tammy in.
Yes.
She was questioning his relationship.
So Tammy did know something was going on.
And, yeah.
And she didn't just die in her sleep because she was getting a cough. Because she did become a zombie before she was actually killed. So, oh, yeah, no, I didn't hear that yet. Yeah, she didn't hear it yet because you're in Hawaii and you know damn well it happened. You just didn't.
Right, she was with him, right? At that time when Tammy died? Or wasn't she?
Yeah, now that you say that, she was in Hawaii. And they didn't hear that yet? Maybe not. Maybe it was before they went to Hawaii.
Because he was there when she died.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, okay. So now this is just getting so confusing. So yes, she didn't hear that yet. Well, I'm sure she heard that as soon as she took her last breath. But let's go on.
And so, and I said, well, how did she die? She goes, well, we just had to do what we could to take her out of her spirit. Something like that. And I was like, okay. Well, I'm thinking she said a prayer, her spirit went home. That's what I'm thinking, right? And so, like, maybe she did some kind of, like, blessing or something, like people can do that, I guess. I don't know. And so anyway, then this is where it all changes for me.
After all that.
You're gonna just try not to react.
Okay. Okay, no, it's okay.
Put your seatbelt on.
Okay.
And so then I get a call from Chad 2 days before Thanksgiving. Hey, Melanie, Rexburg Police is gonna call you. Don't answer. And I went, what? And my stomach just dropped, you know?
Oh, man.
And I said, what happened? Well, police are over at Lori's house, and they're looking for JJ. And she told them that JJ was with you. And I went, what?
Oh, no.
And I'm like, well, I thought JJ was at Grandma's house. He's not there, is he? And he's like, no, he's not.
Okay.
You notice how she goes quite often. What? Ooh.
Like, I'm so, like, naive to any of this stuff where you're wondering where JJ is and then he's not there. But at this point, you're not going to go to anyone. You know, Tammy died and somebody killed her because they were talking about her dying and her being a zombie. You know, Tylee was not there and she's getting the evil eye like, oh yeah, she's not here anymore. But what changes it is when they bring Melanie into the
Right.
situation with the police.
Right.
None of this other stuff bothered her. It's when she gets implicated into this that she has an issue with it. So hold on tight. It gets crazy now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And I don't know, honestly, I did not know what to think at this time. I was so shocked.
Nothing else
like,
shocks her.
The whole spirit was like, what happened?
There she goes.
I was freaking out inside. And then I get a phone call from the police. Of course, I ignore it. And then Lori calls me and she's like, oh, no, everything's fine. I just want to visit with you and that you're going to take him down to Arizona. And I'm like, why? Like, what happened? And she's like, well, JJ was, we thought that JJ was going to get kidnapped by Kay, and so we're protecting him, and which is a lie, and which I believe is a lie, personally.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, and she's like, well, I gotta go, and I just didn't know what to say. I was just so dumbfounded by it all. And anyway, so I go down to Arizona, and her brother's down there, just down the street from me, because he's marrying my friend who's in my ward. Her name's Selena. And so I said, hey, are you around? And so anyway, I said, hey, let's meet, we need to talk. So I said, hey, Alex, I said, do I want to know what happened to JJ? And he says, no, you don't want to know. And I went, what?
Oh, my goodness.
And she goes, I told Lori she should have never got you involved in this. And I'm like, yeah, she should have never got me involved. That was not smart. And
Because now I'm up Schitt's Creek too.
He said, yeah, the police ransacked my house, took my guns, and I'm like, I wonder why they did that. I couldn't figure that out at the time. And,
Not that anybody died.
They kept telling me that, they had a lot of bad people working for them, that now the cops are zombies, that kind of stuff.
Goodness.
And so, anyway, so I'm starting to get, like, really creepy feelings, and then, so anyway, one of my friends, he was with me, he goes home, and he calls me up, and I'm like, he said, Melanie, I'm really worried about your testimony. I'm like, what? Why are you worried about my testimony? And I'm like, okay, I need you to be a friend. Let's talk. I said, okay, I'm not sure how I'm feeling about the zombie thing. What do you think? And he knew what was going on and stuff. And I said, I don't have a testimony of it. Like, I'm not sure what to think about all this stuff. And he goes, oh my gosh, me too. He goes, I just never have a testimony of Chad and Lori. And so all of a sudden, this heaviness that was on him was leaving him. Just the heaviness of he'd been trying to pray about if they were really who they were.
Yeah.
And he was not getting an answer about it. And anyway, the heaviness leaves him. And it's David Warwick. You know who he is, right?
I don't.
He was the guy that was speaking of dreams and visions when you were watching. Didn't you watch the recording?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, he was the one that was speaking, the guy with the brown hair.
Okay.
And he was speaking about his visions. Anyway,
Yeah.
him and I are dating. But,
Oh my gosh.
So, none of this really sinks in until now, apparently, to Melanie. Like, all these people might be dead, and, it's just now that she's being put in the middle of it that she's having an issue. And apparently David Warwick knows all of this stuff too, because, yeah, he's my boyfriend. Like, she is just so hoping that this woman knew who the hell David Warwick was, and she had no clue. So she had to just throw in there, well, he was this guy that you were listening to, and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, he's my boyfriend. Like,
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with anything. I'm sorry, Melanie, but you
Yeah,
just
it's a
wanted
little immature at that point, I think. Juvenile.
Yeah.
The juvenile
so,
statement. But,
but he knew stuff too.
he knew stuff because they all were hanging out together.
Mm-hmm.
Him,
Because they were
Chad,
dating, and if she was with Lori all the time, he was always there.
and supposedly he was there the night that
JJ.
JJ disappeared, or JJ was taken by Alex.
Yeah. So that's another person thrown into this mix that probably knows a hell of a lot more than what we know that they know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, she's something else.
Yeah, he's such a sweetheart.
Oh, good.
You'd really like him. But anyway, he's been questioning all of this because he's really had amazing visions, and he's like, this is really not comfortable for me, Melanie. Like, it's really jacked up. And anyway, we talked till
Likely.
5 o'clock in the morning, and I was like coming to Jesus, and I was feeling the
Coming
stomach,
to Jesus.
you know, that deep pit stomach feeling
Yes.
you get when things are wrong.
Yeah.
I was feeling it, gut instinct was going, something's wrong. So I call Sulema, and I'm like, hey Sulema, like what did Alex say? I'm getting a bad feeling. I'm not sure what to think about this. And she goes, well, I don't. She told me what her testimony was of Chad and how he gave her a blessing, made her also part of the 144,000, and said she was translated too, and then said she basically started having visions after this. Okay.
Yeah.
So she had a testimony of Chad that he was real visionary. And so, anyway, so I said, well, what did Alex tell you? What happened? And she said, well, all he said to me was, you don't want to know. No. He said, they won't be able to be found. He won't be able to be found. And I'm like, that? I said, you know what? I'm not really feeling good about this, Selena. And she had just married him. And because, that Chad and Laura were like, get married, hurry, you're part of the 145,000, you need to get married. And my brother Alex, you need to marry him. And
Okay, so apparently, again, she's not flummoxed about any of this until she gets put in here. But I didn't realize that they had to get married because they were part of the 144,000.
Yeah, I did hear that.
So that's why all these people hurried up and got married, I guess. Melanie and Ian.
And Zulema and Alex.
Yeah.
But, Alex, as I understand it, he believed Lori's stuff. He believed her stories about zombies. He believed, all of that, whatever information she was feeding him, he believed it. And, he just was devoted to her. Maybe because she was his sister, or maybe because he really believed she had godly ways.
Yeah, and
I
he
don't
really
know.
didn't. Apparently, he killed dogs. He just,
Yeah.
he was not the warm and fuzzy person. Like, he really didn't have an issue with hurting people. So,
they got married quickly. And so, anyway, it was not good. And so I said, I'm going to have to call the police. Like, I'm feeling really bad about this, And my gut is screaming at me, and I don't think Heavenly Father's pleased with me right now.
This is where it
a
gets-
lot of background noise here.
So, anyway, so I go fly up to see Dave because now I'm starting to feel insecure about how safety I'm feeling at the time, because I know he's up the street, Alex is, and I'm starting to feel uncomfortable with the idea of now I'm going to report him to the police and he can go to jail.
Right.
And so I just leave town and go to Dave, and Dave just ministers to me like the whole week. I mean, he is there for me. And I am like heavy with energy, super heavy. And I tell the police, I said, I'd like to talk to you. And he goes, well, when you get back to town, I'd like to talk to you. And so called up the Rexburg police.
Did you live?
Well, you call me a cohort?
there's a part of it that
Didn't record.
goes away.
Hear me?
Yes, now I can.
Oh, sorry, I don't know where I left off. I noticed that my phone flipped over.
Oh, you said that you called the Rexburg police.
Oh, okay, sorry for where I went. Okay, so I got back up. I was speaking a whole bunch. So I called them, and then they said they'd talk to me later when I got back in town in Gilbert. So I decided to call Lori and Chad, and I recorded it. And I said, hey, why did you tell the Rexburg police that JJ was me when he was not with me? And she says, well, I just did that for your safety. I didn't want you to know where he was so that you would be safe. And, because, just the situation's really uncomfortable and that, we're trying to take JJ and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, well, you told me he was going to Kay's house. And well, we did that for your safety. And I said, you know what? I believe that you and Chad are being deceived. And I said, you're a core whore.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And then they said, well, you call me a core whore? And I said, yeah, this is like a core whore. And I said, this is like a core whore. And, carnal desires. That's why I did this, because of the carnal desires. And I said, she goes, you're saying I did this because of carnal desires? I said, yes, you and maybe not both, hun, that you are very carnal. Because she has a very high libido, so I know she's carnal.
Oh, boy.
And she'll throw her friend under the bus anytime she can, because that's not something you would share with people if you know that they are that way. I don't think you would talk to people you don't really know and
Say that. Well, she called her that
Korah whore.
Yeah, who in the Book of Mormon, he was a bad guy, and he was a bad guy, and he had these traits.
Right. But this woman knows that. The woman that she's talking to is also LDS, so she knows who Korah whore is. She knows the whole story, but yet she has to tell her because she has a really high libido. Like, you should know that by calling her a Korah whore, but that's all right. She's just got to make sure she understands.
And, and so, and I said, the scriptures say that the Lord said in Doctrine and Covenants section 3 that if you would have followed him, he would have protected you against all the fiery darts. I said, if you guys would have been obedient, you would have been protected from all the fiery darts. The Lord does not work in darkness.
Exactly.
I said, the Lord would have had your back. And I said, well, no. And she's like, well, she compared herself to Ether that hid in a rock, Alma that fled, and Moroni at the end of his life fled. She compared herself to them. I said, okay. I said, they were prophets. And she's like, exactly. I'm like, oh boy. And she was not happy with it. I said, you are wresting the scriptures. I read the scriptures. You think I'm wresting them? I said, you are wresting them. You know what that means, right?
Right.
Yeah. And I was like,
I think putting them aside and not listening to them.
And I said, I am concerned. She goes, you know how much I love you. I said, I am concerned for your soul and your salvation. Yeah, man, I did not hold back. It was like a 20-minute conversation.
Wow.
I recorded it and I sent it to the police. And I was like, just know for my record, I didn't have the kid. You know what I mean? But
Did she say didn't have the kid then?
Yeah, and for the record, I didn't have the kid.
Yeah, that's
So, and we did hear that in the preliminary hearing for Chad. So they did play the whole
right. The phone
conversation.
call.
Yeah.
But her goal was is that she thought that the big earthquake was going to happen every month last year. And she was told by Moroni that it was going to happen, and so therefore it didn't matter what happened to anybody or everything because life was just going to change. It's going to be fine.
And she's laughing at her
anyway,
beliefs, but yet she believes these crazy things too. So.
Anyway, so the police, I talked to them, and they're basically, Chad is like texting people and calling people still. Yeah, they can track him and stuff. So they're just a matter of getting evidence on him, I guess, now. But, yeah, and so I hope that I don't have to go and testify.
Oh, well, Melanie?
But anyway, so...
Does she really not want to testify, though?
So many things. This is one thing that I've learned. I started thinking about the scripture from James, where he talked about,
There it goes again.
I lost you again.
Joseph Smith, Smith wanted to give him the.
Melanie, I lost you again. Hello? Hello? I lost you again. Hello, Melanie? Melanie?
I
lost
wonder
you
what
again.
made this woman record this phone call.
I don't know. It's strange.
The phone code.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave off. Yes.
Oh, the scripture, when you start to say you're thinking of the scripture.
Oh yeah. So the scripture that says for James, he wants for nothing. Perfect patient hath through perfect work.
Yes.
Wanting nothing. Wanting nothing.
Wanting nothing,
So
yes.
the problem is that when we want something, and we want something, and we want something, there's counterfeit that comes along. Joseph Smith wanted to give him to please
Right.
her parents. He gave him the plague. So he got in
Absolutely.
trouble too. He got in trouble as well.
Right.
And the Lord is trying to teach us is that we can't please our fellow man. We have to quit pleasing our fellow man and put God first. And so I started thinking about Dr. Bradley Nelson. Do you know who he is? The guy that does the motion code. He started it.
I don't like him, but go ahead.
Yes. Well, good. Because
do not like
think about this. Think about this. Dr. Bradley Nelson wanted to heal 10 years, I believe he said, in a conference that I happened to be at. He was like, 10 years I went to the Lord. I want to heal. I want to heal. I want to heal. And the
Oh,
Lord
my
finally,
goodness.
waited. Well, so this is where the Lord comes in. He's like, oh, here comes the counterfeit.
Right.
And they open the door to the doctrines of devils.
Yep.
Yeah.
Amen
And
to that.
that's
Oh,
what
my
happened.
goodness.
So this is how they come in. So all this energy work. Now, I used to kind of be a fan a little bit.
Right.
I never 100% felt good about it, but I kind of wanted to believe in it.
Right.
And I came to the conclusion from all my experiences that those things are to be taught and shared by the Holy Ghost, and that these people are opening dark doors.
Oh.
Even though they think they're light, it's bringing in darkness. And hey,
Absolutely.
Okay, so to me that sounds like she was all gung-ho about talking about this guy, and then,
The woman said
yeah,
she-
Sherry's like,
I don't like him.
yeah, so she kind of had to backtrack. Oh, well, good, but yet she still has to talk about him, and then, well, I didn't really believe it either,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
she's trying to play both sides. She wants to tell her about him just because she believes in him,
Right.
but has to play it off like, yeah, she didn't believe it either.
Absolutely.
hold on just a minute, hon.
Sure.
My son's here. Hey, babe, what's up? I love you, sweetheart. Have fun. Make some good. I hope it goes well for you, babe. Okay, so I started really thinking about how this was affecting many people. Julie Rowe got really out of control,
Yep.
and then he didn't even like her at the end. He was like, didn't like her. So anyway, she's now put a podcast out about him and Lori, and it's most disgusting.
Oh.
It is disgusting. She's angry. She even says she's angry on it. And she not only says he's angry, she's like, no, Chad and me are friends. We've been friends for a long time, and I know that my angels have told me that the kids are safe and they're playing on the beach and everything's fine.
Oh my gosh.
She's not going to look good when it's up dead, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness.
She's not going to look good.
She's not going to look good when they turn up dead. Okay, so you know they're dead because they're going to turn up dead.
Yeah. Well,